Committee on Education and Labor will come to order. This hearing is especially important given the department's lack of transparency. The committee's ability to fulfill its oversight function relies on a healthy working relationship with the department. When we ask reasonable questions, we expect responsive and timely answers, but on multiple occasions across several issues, the department has refused to answer reasonable questions about its work and failed to provide adequate fact-based justifications for its actions.
I don't understand why you think it's such a hard choice to cut every single federal dedicated literacy program at a time when only 1/3 of our school kids can read.
We have continued to pour billions of dollars into federal funding for education only to see results continue to remain stagnant at best and in many cases decline for the students who need the most help.
Well, Secretary DeVos, I hear your words, and yet one of the programs that you cut, the LEARN program, helps those states and local districts develop comprehensive literacy programs to actually solve this problem. And so, look, I think what kills me about this isn't just the context of the fact that we're cutting some of the most critical programs to improve literacy. It's the hypocrisy of what I see from this department. If you go on the website of the Department of Education right now, the picture is you reading a book to a kid, and that's phenomenal. And you've gone around the country reading books to kids, talking about the importance of literacy. But then you get back to Washington. You go into the cloak of bureaucracy in a back room somewhere, and you cut every single program. And indeed, you actually eliminate every single program fully developed and fully dedicated towards addressing the problem that you're actually saying needs to be solved. And I think that hypocrisy is disappointing, shocking, and frankly, really heartbreaking at a time when we have some real challenges in our educational system.
The function of the department in college oversight is ensuring the financial responsibility and administrative capacity of these institutions. Further, there was over $1 billion taxpayer dollars flowing to those schools annually as of the conversion. You're sending these schools billions of dollars. If the buck doesn't stop with you, where does it stop?
Congresswoman, we are very attentive to the needs of every student and every school that is serving them. And the fact is that we have continued to work with
Secretary
schools.
DeVos,
and
you are
let
not
me just say
answering
that
my
the
question.
previous administration went to war on
Secretary
these
DeVos,
schools.
you are not answering my question. My students in my district and people on this committee deserve to have reasonable answers to reasonable questions.
My concern is that you spend so much of your time focused on vouchers, how do we fund religious and private schools, and then you come up with something called the Education Freedom Scholarship, which by any other name is a voucher. We are once again picking winners and losers, which is something that my colleagues complained about for years and years about Democrats. You, in fact, are trying to pick winners and losers.
Your written testimony that the proposal does not divert a single penny away from public school teachers or public school students is just, with all due respect, inaccurate, because of course it does. Because it takes away tax dollars that can be devoted to education.
We know that transgender students are frequently bullied and victimized. We know also that the 2016 guidance to schools about transgender students was applauded by education experts, healthcare experts, educators, counselors, pediatricians, psychologists, because it made students safer at school. But your department rolled back that guidance, creating uncertainty and concern. So I have two questions. When you rolled back that guidance, did you know that the stress of harassment and discrimination can lead to lower attendance and grades as well as depression and anxiety for transgender students? Did you know that?
Congressman, OCR is committed to ensuring all students have equal access to education free from discrimination.
Did you know when, I would really like an answer. Students and families need to know this. We had a mother of a transgender student here yesterday. We need to know this. Did you know when you rolled back the guidance that the stress of harassment and discrimination can lead to lower attendance and grades as well as depression for transgender students? Did you know that when you rolled back the guidance?
I do know that, but I will say again that OCR is committed to ensuring that all students have access to their education.
So in August of 2018, it was reported by the New York Times and other outlets that the department was considering the use of federal funds to arm teachers. In all of your previous statements, and even just now, you have maintained that you lack the authority to approve or deny requests to purchase firearms for school staff and taxpayer money and using taxpayer funds under Title IV-A. On page 4 of the memo that came out of your department with the advice of your general counsel, it says, the department's office of the general counsel has advised that the secretary has discretion to interpret the broad language of the statute as to its permissiveness regarding the purchase of firearms and the training and use of firearms. In light of the
And as I've
contents
said,
of
I've
this
neither
memo,
advocated for nor against.
in light of the contents, no, you're absolutely right. You have not advocated for or against. But in light of the contents of this memo, you have the ability to make a decision. Your silence is a decision. You have the authority to say that we cannot use federal funds to arm teachers. You are in line for
States and local
presidential
communities.
succession. Make a decision on this. You have the authority to do it. Will you prohibit the use of federal funds to arm teachers? Yes or no, Madam Secretary?
This is a matter for
Yes or no?
states and local communities
You
to
have the
decide
authority
upon.
to do it. Read your memo.
Congress has the authority to make that decision.
You have the authority, if you so choose. Read the memo.